Assalamu alaikum, everyone, viewers all around the OIC Youth Forum and on Facebook. This is Mariam Shakeel, your moderator and host for the session today. We are going to discuss the very keen and important issues that we have seen on international front line in past few weeks, which is the Armenian and Azerbaijan crisis that we have seen. And we are going to understand some ground realities and what really went down in the past few weeks. For this, we have our esteemed speaker today, Mr. Elmeddin Mehdiyev. Welcome, Mr. Elmeddin Mehdiyev. I would like to introduce Mr. Elmaddin, who is the Director General of the Eurasian Regional Center of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum since a year and a half. Previously, Mr. Mehdiyev held key positions in the headquarters of ICYF and personally contributed to the common development of Muslim youth across the OIC geography, including institutionalized and development of ICYF as the youth platform of the OIC and realization of dozens of international projects and programs serving youth well-being in the OIC geography and beyond. Once again, Mr. Mehdiyev, well, thank you for taking our time for this session. I would like to officially begin with our first question, which is basically what every youth, OIC youth that we have who are looking at this at their screens right now, they're not quite sure about what happened on Armenian-Azerbaijan border. What is the issue? And as the whole purpose of having this discussion this week was because this is such an important issue at the moment, but there are a lot of people in the world who may not yet realize how important and serious the issue at hand is. For those who are watching, and especially for the youth that is watching, could you please give us a brief overview of the present situation?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mariam. First of all, I would like to thank the National OIC Pakistan team for their dedication and for conducting this important program throughout the pandemic, which affected all the world and including use of our OIC geography. And I am very happy that ICYF-ERC, the Eurasian Regional Center of ICYF, partnered National OIC Pakistan to implement this important project. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the already 5th episode of the program, and it's my privilege and pleasure to be guest today in this program. And regarding your question, what's going on in the South Caucasus, what's going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan, I would like to start with mentioning that today is the 27th anniversary of the occupation of Agdam district of Azerbaijan, of the Republic of Azerbaijan, by the Armenian military forces. Agdam is still under occupation. This is one of the 7 administrative districts of the Azerbaijan, in addition to the Nagorno-Karabakh region of Azerbaijan, which all together occupied by Armenia. It's approximately 20% of the territory of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and occupation is going on more than 27 years. So, starting with this, I would like to pass to the answer to your question. As you may know, and as our esteemed audience may know from the media and social media sources, on 12 July, the Armenian military forces started military armed provocations against the territorial integrity of the Republic of Azerbaijan. It happened, the geography where it happened, it's very important. Until this moment, all the clashes, all the military actions were happening in the occupied territories. There are 2 types of lines. The one is the border line between the Armenia and Azerbaijan, and another one is the front line. Front line is in the occupied territories. So all the clashes were happening mostly happening in the front line. But now this time, the provocation, the attack, military attack, happened not in the front line, but in the borderline, internationally recognized border between Azerbaijan and Armenia. The other part, the occupation, the fact of occupation, the clash there, this is also, of course, the violation of the international law. But now talking about the 12th July provocation, I'm going to deliberate, to touch why it happened, what's the motivation of the government or establishment of the Republic of Armenia. So on 12th July, the provocations has started, and the military forces of Azerbaijan, of course, responded in a very professional way, using the high-tech weapons, not to damage the civil population, but to target the military objects of the Republic of Armenia. But from the opposite side, we didn't see the same thing, because the military forces of the Republic of Armenia, they attacked both the military objects, the soldiers of the Republic of Armenia, but at the same time, they were shelling the civil infrastructure, civilian villages, and as a result, there were civilian casualties. 76 years old Azerbaijani citizens were killed as a result of these shellings. And I would like to mention that while forcing back the Armenian military forces, 12 Azerbaijani military servicemen were martyred. They bravely gave their lives to protect the motherland, to protect Azerbaijan. And one of them was the martyred Major General Polat Hashimov. So now it seems that the clash stopped. But we were, in the past also, this type of provocations happened, not in this scale, but the attacking the civilians mostly were observed in the front line in 2017 as a result of the Armenian military forces shelling the 2-year-old toddler Zahra, and her grandmother were killed. So why Armenia did this? What's the reason behind this provocation? As you know, the whole humanity, the world, we are passing through difficult times. Pandemic which started in early 2020, it's going on, and of course it affects economics, social situation, socio-economic situation in the countries, in the societies, creating additional stress for the people. And when the humanity is passing from this kind of troubled times, when for all humans, it's a high responsibility to fight the coronavirus, the pandemic, for the future of the world. Unfortunately, our neighbors choose to attack us and choose to create another destabilization in the South Caucasus. So the reasons for Armenian government, for Armenian establishment to attack Azerbaijan in the direction of Tovuz district of Azerbaijan, which is far from the front line, there are three main reasons for that. First of all, as you know, it's more than 25 years that peace process or peace negotiations are going on. We can call it, for us, for Azerbaijanis, this is the hope to have the peace negotiations, because of course, as a society, as a state, we also prefer to solve the conflict with peaceful manners, peacefully. But for Armenian side, this is kind of prolonging the occupation, keeping the status quo. So this is imitation for them. And as 26 years peace negotiations has brought no result. There were big questions in the Azerbaijani government and the Azerbaijani society, how long we are going to have these peace negotiations and how long our territories should be occupied and how long international community will be silent on this kind of violation of international law. How long the double standards will be applied in approach to Azerbaijan and the people of Azerbaijan. And in 2019, His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, he once again declared that the negotiations without substance, negotiations without results, that's not what Azerbaijan wants. And we demand from Armenian side, and we demand from international community, and we demand from OIC Minsk Group co-chairs to be more substantive and to be more productive, result-based negotiations. And 2019, as the President declared, the lost year in the peace negotiations, peace process. And in the early 2020, in the Munich Security Conference, the first time there was, for the wide audience, there was a debate between two leaders, His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev, the President of Azerbaijan, and Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia. And that, let's say, short debate, around 1 hour, even not 1 hour, clearly outlined, clearly showed to the wide audience the arguments, the positions, and how Azerbaijan is fair and right in its position, because President clearly mentioned all the arguments which we have in hand. The first of all, the Azerbaijan is the Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 adjacent territory regions, districts, are the internationally recognized territory of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And Nikol Pashinyan's references were baseless. I mean, he was referring to in sometimes fake documents, sometimes vague documents, facts. And for me, that was very surprising, really. I am saying it as a person, not just as Azerbaijani. I'm saying it as the person who was watching that debate, that, okay, they are fighting with us, they are demanding, they have the territorial claim. What's the base for the society, what's for the people? And the reference for Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of Armenia, was a book. He mentioned that everything is written there, the Armenian position. And I made my research, search in the Google, and I found this book in Amazon. This is 60-page book, 60 pages. So whole process, whole claims of Armenian government, Armenian society, they described it in 60-page document with its annex and etc. So, I mean, this is very funny in real. So all these showed how decisive the government of Azerbaijan, the leadership of Azerbaijan, the people of Azerbaijan are in returning back their territories. And that's why I think that there was, let's say, a big tension or big hesitation, not hesitation, but big tension, and that they were afraid of that Azerbaijan can start any moment to liberate their territories. And some other factors also affected this provocation. So the first factor was the peace negotiations without any results, and Azerbaijan's decisive position in the returning back, or let's say fighting to take back their territory. This is the factor number one, that they wanted to distract the international community from the ongoing peace negotiations to some other, to some other hot issue and another, let's say, problem in the border. This is number one. The second number, in general, I would like to mention that what we witnessed sometimes the steps taken by the governments, by the ultra-nationalist governments, you may not find any substantive argument behind that action. So in general, I can say that what we witnessed in Tovuz district of Azerbaijan, this is the proof of the militarist policy or militarist aggression policy, which stems from years old ultra-nationalist mindset of the establishment of the government of the leaders of the Republic of Armenia. At the same time, the people and society, the ultra-nationalist society of the Armenia. And this is not just, I mean, to fight for Karabakh or to take Karabakh. This is in general the militaristic approach, to expansionist approach to take more lands. So with this, of course, they were targeting also to involve to the conflict third parties, political, military organizations, or definite countries, to involve them to the conflict. So, I mean, to put in a deadlock the peace negotiation and to create new tensions in the region. This is the number two. And number three, as we know, and you can observe it openly from the facts, I mean, from the website, web sources where they're sharing the facts about the pandemic, the policy of the Republic of Armenia during the pandemic, it failed. The society was totally unhappy with the measures and with the actions of the government, and they needed some, you know, some other problem in order to divert, to distract the attention of their society from the problems, economic problems, socio-economic problems caused by pandemic, to divert them to something different. And for the societies like Armenian society, ultra-nationalist society, these kind of things, it always works, you know, when they are talking about attacking, occupying, so they can forget their economic situation also. So I'm not claiming that this is, I mean, I am claiming it based on the facts which I and all of you can observe.
All of you can observe.
Are the three main reasons of these provocations. And from the beginning, the military, the army of Azerbaijan, the people, the society of Azerbaijan, and of course the leadership of Azerbaijan has a very firm stand and decisive position to fight back, to put back the enemy. And even maybe maybe you heard from the media, there were big rallies, big demonstrations. I mean, in Azerbaijan, the people supporting the government, people supporting the army, people protesting the occupation of the Nagorno-Karabakh, demanding Karabakh back, and also protesting the aggression, the militarist policy of the Republic of Armenia, and demanding the just position, fair position of the international community. So, and that was a very positive development on this issue, because the perception of Armenians, of Armenian leadership, and perception maybe of some other parties or some other societies were that the Azerbaijanis who have not seen Karabakh, who was born after the occupation of the Karabakh, they will forget about their lands. They will not be so strong in their demands, the Karabakh back. But now it proved that no, it's not like this. The people, the people who gathered in these rallies, most of them are the young people who was born after the occupation in 1990s. So that proves once again that the people of Azerbaijan, the government of Azerbaijan, in total, the Republic of Azerbaijan is very decisive to restore justice, to take back the lands peacefully, or if needed with army, to take the lands back. So this is one aspect of all these provocations. And secondly, which I would like to highlight, is that Tovuz district is, as I mentioned before, it's a bit far from the front line, the occupied territories. Of course, I mean, Azerbaijan is not so big country, but this is the biggest country in the South Caucasus. But in compare with Pakistan, I mean, it's smaller. And the districts there, they are not, the distance between them is not hundreds of kilometers. Of course, I mean, compare with some other geographies, we can say that the front line and Tovuz, they are very close to each other. But in general, it's not the same area. It's a different area and it's far. So why they attack Tovuz? There is another point for that, because as you know, I will speak about this geopolitical situation in coming, let's say, questions, but or incoming opportunities. But talking about just that part of Azerbaijan, the important pipelines, oil and gas pipelines passing from that region to Georgia and from there to the international seaports. And these pipelines are very important, not just only pipelines. This is the transportation route for the where the, I mean,
it's also said it's like an
bridging,
economy
yes,
for
bridging
Azerbaijan.
east and west, yes, economic, not just important for Azerbaijan, but for other countries also, neighboring countries.
For other countries as well.
Yes. It's very important. And the pipelines passing from there, they are let's say they are additional added value for diversification of energy dependence of the European countries. So from that point of view, it's very important also to keep safe that territory for Azerbaijan and for its partners, and who are benefiting from these pipelines and from this energy corridor. So briefly, what I wanted to say about the military provocation of Armenia against Azerbaijan, it's this. But if you have another questions, I can touch another moment, or I can deliberate my opinion or my thoughts.
Right.
Please.
First of all, after hearing about all the killings that we have seen on the news on the Azerbaijani border, we highly condemn that. It's no killing is justified. No killing is, we can say that it was right or wrong. It is just horrific to even, because this is not the first time Armenia attacked Azerbaijani border. I think it's in the past, in 2016, we have heard Armenia also attacked the surprise attack on Azerbaijani's border. You mentioned about the energy economic belt, not just economic, but the energy belt, which connects not only for Azerbaijan, but also the regional actors in that area. What do you think? How do you view this role of regional players in this whole scenario? And where do you think regional politics are headed in the future?
Yeah, you mentioned it's not the first time that Armenia attacks. Yes, it's not the first time. Of course, they once attacked and occupied our territories. But as I said, this is the continuation of that militaristic policy of aggression of the neighbors, the territories of the neighbors. And I want to mention that the Armenian society, Armenian government, they not only Azerbaijan, I mean, they have the claims, territorial claims, not only against Azerbaijan, but all other countries which are neighboring Armenia also, in particular Turkey and Georgia. You know, the Jabaketia region in Georgia, there are some ethnic Armenians, and there were demonstrations or Armenian demonstrations there, but just politically or geopolitically, for them, it's not possible to carry out such a big, large-scale expansionist policy. So that's why now they are not so much focused on that. But I can refer to the words of the President of the Republic of Armenia, the previous President Serge Sarkisyan, which once mentioned in front of the students that our generation, I'm quoting, our generation liberated Nagorno-Karabakh, and it's your turn, your generation, to liberate the Ararat. Ararat is they call Ararat the eastern provinces of Turkey. So they as a country, they have claims, territorial claims, against all the neighbors. So, and I think that it's very important for neighboring countries, for the region countries, and for the whole world international community, once and forever, to stop this militaristic, expansionist policy of the government of Armenia, of the establishment of Armenia, because otherwise that source of destabilization, source of tension will continue forever. Once we can solve our issue with Armenia and we can liberate Nagorno-Karabakh, but what if they will tomorrow raise the same or more focus on the same claims against Georgia, against Turkey? So even if you will read, or if you will see the maps of so-called Great Armenia, in that map there are territories from Iran, there are territories from Turkey, there are territories from Georgia. I mean, if they could make it, they could take the land from Black Sea also. I mean, they are going until the Black Sea, from Black Sea to Caspian Sea. I mean, this is very ill-minded approach to the modern world and modern politics. And I think that the world community, international community, collectively should fight with this kind of mindsets, because once, you know, there was a appeasement policy, they called it appeasement policy in literature, towards Hitler, Nazi Germany. And in 1938, 1939, during the Munich conference, when after the Germany occupied the Switzerland, Czech Republic, you know, the approach of the European countries, mainly UK and France, was that, okay, let's appease him, let him to take what he wants, and then he will stop and let's have a peace. But it didn't work. So they started to occupy more lands, more lands. At the end, UK found itself in the war with Germany. France found itself occupied by Germany. And how many people lost their lives during the Second World War? Of course, I'm not comparing the scale of the issue, but the nature, the mindset is the same. So this is the prime time for the region countries and for the international community to stop it once and forever. Otherwise, there will not be peace in the region. Otherwise, there will not be any prosperity in the region. And I think that this is not acceptable for all the world countries, and especially the regional powers, so to have a destabilized neighbors. This is number one. Number two, taking this opportunity, I would like to mention that numerous countries and international organizations supported Azerbaijan and strongly condemned the military provocation of the Republic of Armenia. Non-alignment movement, which has 120 member countries gathered in that movement, issued a communique strongly condemning the military provocation of the Republic of Armenia. Turkic Council as organization also did the same. Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which is the second largest intergovernmental organization after the United Nations, with 57 member states, issued a statement strongly condemning the military provocation of the Republic of Armenia and calling to restore the territorial integrity of the Republic of Azerbaijan, referring to the United Nations and OIC documents and resolutions which demand unconditional, full, and immediate withdrawal of the occupying forces from the Republic of Azerbaijan. With mentioning these international organizations, I also would like to mention some countries, in particular our brotherly country, neighboring country, the Republic of Turkey, and also, of course, Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And I also would like to mention the Ukraine from Eastern Europe, and also as our neighbor, Iran. So why I am saying this? Because all the neighboring countries, they are including Russia and Georgia, of course, they respect, and in their official, let's say, statement, they respect and they demand for the territorial integrity of the Republic of Azerbaijan. The approach, how the things should be solved, of course, they may have different approach, but in general, there is no question about the territorial integrity of the Azerbaijan. And there are 4 United Nations Security Council resolutions, which I referred previously, condemning the occupation and demanding immediate and unconditional withdrawal of occupying forces from the lands of Azerbaijan. So, taking this opportunity, of course, I would like to thank all the countries. I mean, as a citizen of the Republic of Azerbaijan, I would like to thank all the countries, all the leaders, all the international organizations, international human rights activists, public figures who denounced these provocations and who condemned these kind of militaristic actions. At the same time, I would like to mention that in ICYF, in Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, we also, of course, I mean, made the relevant statements. The president of ICYF, Mr. Taha Ayhan, he issued his statement referring to the OIC, referring to the United Nations, and also strongly condemning this military action. The board of Eurasian Regional Center of ICYF, right after the starting this military provocation, issued the statement denouncing the nature of this provocation for the wide audience, and at the same time expressing its solidarity with the government and people of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And in follow-up, following this statement of the board, the Eurasian Regional Center, International Board of the Eurasian Regional Center of ICYF, in their meeting on 18 July, adopted a special decision which not just condemning, but at the same time calling for action of the use of geography, action of use from different countries to protest and to raise voice against this kind of illegal actions. So this is the approach and perspective from the OIC.
Like you mentioned, the regional powers that are playing their part in it. I've read somewhere about the Minsk group that was made since the advent of this issue. Minsk group was made to mediate between the two states. It includes Russia, France, and US. I wanted to actually emphasize why that mediation group have been failing since. Why there has been no solution, peace resolution out of it. You already mentioned about the whys and hows, and you already mentioned about the levels of it. But there are still many bigger factors, bigger powers in the region, like Russia, who are, how do you view their implications and their policies with it?
Of course, Azerbaijan, for all these years, passing years, was committed to the peace process under the OIC Minsk Group initiative. The co-chairs, as you mentioned, are United States, France, and Russia, or Russia, United States, and France. But until this moment, there was not even one, let's say, one village liberated as a result of this peace negotiation. So because first, the most effective factor is that the destructive position of the Republic of Armenia. As I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, it's very important what's your expectation from any process. For us, expectation is peace and to restore our territorial integrity. For Armenia, expectation is just not to have any result, to continue the status quo, the illegal occupation, and so to imitate the peace process. So that's why this is the first number one factor why the peace process didn't yield any results. And but I think that the second important moment is that, as you implied, there should be very firm position, very strong position, especially of the co-chairs. I mean, the countries which are represented in co-chairmanship of the Minsk group, to name the things as it is, to openly to call it occupation, to openly to call upon the government and people and society of the Republic of Armenia to respect the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. I believe that none of these countries, Russia, France, United States, will never accept this kind of attitude, this kind of behavior against their territorial integrity. And their nations will not accept it also. Otherwise, France was occupied by Nazi Germany. Why they fight? Why they fought against Germany? Or the same Soviet Union, Russia, as part of the Soviet Union, was occupied by again Nazists. So they fairly and very bravely, not just Russians, but all the Soviet Union peoples, including Azerbaijanis, fought with this kind of militaristic policy and restored the justice. So the same thing, the same logic should be applied here. Or let's say none of these countries will accept secessionist separatism in their lands. We witnessed it in Russia. There were attempts, separatist attempts against the territorial integrity of Russia, but the government of Russia didn't allow it. So why, when it comes to Azerbaijan, the people of Azerbaijan, the government of Azerbaijan, in order to keep the peace, in order, let's say, how to say, the so-called peace, to contribute to so-called peace, should sacrifice their lands, their rights, not just lands, but rights also. Why? So this is double standards. This is double standard, double standards approach to this process. And I think that the international community, and especially the countries which are represented in the Minsk group, they have to have the firm position on this issue, just and fair position. Otherwise, without any fair solution, the peace will not be restored in the South Caucasus. This is for sure. Because, as I said, everybody witnessed that the young people of Azerbaijan who was born after the occupation, they were rallying in the streets demanding Karabakh and supporting their government, supporting their army. So the people of Azerbaijan will not forget it. And that will be fair from their side, from the international community, and that will be fair in general that in modern days, we are living in the 21st century, there are internationally recognized borders. Just to respect that border, that's all, nothing else. Azerbaijan is strong enough to make investment to that liberated lands, to raise economy, to raise infrastructure there, and to provide the prosperity and abundance of its society, of its people in whole territory of Azerbaijan. But the only thing demanded from the international community is to respect the internationally recognized borders. That's all.
That's very well put, Mr. Elmaddin. I would like to also mention the very important part where you said that it's very important for us to restore justice. But you know how media like to speculate things, how they like to portray things. When you're only defending yourself, they try to make it a statement, look like you're terrorizing the region. Azerbaijanis have been defending their border, and only what they want is defend the unlikely situation that Armenian military is provoking. I'd like to mention about in the very start of our conversation, you mentioned that some sort of we can say the general public who were born after the occupation of Karabakh, they're demanding it. How do you see this sentiment, this new sentiments? How do you see this implication in the future? How do you see this implied in the future? Would it happen? Would it not happen? Where would this entire situation will go with the sentiments of the general public?
Thank you for the question. I think that question needs very complicated, let's say. Actually, the question itself is a bit complicated, but it needs a very comprehensive answer. I would like to refer to the history. Just recently I read from social media one of the Armenian, with Armenian origin, the public figures in the United States, if we may call public figure, or let's say influencer, in social media account put kind of arguments supporting the Armenian ultra-nationalist view and etc. And one of the arguments was that for 10,000s of years, put attention, 10,000s of years, Armenians are living in Nagorno-Karabakh. This is absurd, and this is funny, really, that these people poison their brains with this kind of arguments. 10,000s of years to live. What does it mean? I mean, no ethnicity was at that time. I mean, and if we look the history of the humanity, 10,000s of years before, where were the humanity? I mean, so this is very, ill-minded rhetoric. And so when I am saying, why I said that, because when I am saying I will refer to the history, I'm not going to go back to 10,000s of years. I can refer for the last 1,000 years. And I can refer for the last 100 years. And I can refer for the last 30 years, which makes sense for today. Otherwise, I mean, we will talk just about the, let's say, just our own perception about the history. But in 1918, there was a big chance for the South Caucasus. There was a big momentum for the important momentum for the South Caucasus states. As you know, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, they declared their independence. And right after being independent, and the important thing that the, let's say, the enemy which treated the independence for all three was the same. First, that was the, let's say, Tsarist Russia, and then there was Bolsheviks, and so the enemy was the same for independence. But right after the independence, Azerbaijan found itself in the war with Armenia. I mean, they were demanding some territories from Azerbaijan, and I don't know. I mean, they were using their international support. I mean, to achieve this goal. That time, the big issues were happening in the region. The Ottoman, there was the First World War is going on. There is an Ottoman Empire, and some countries are focused on destroy this empire. And and there was an Armenian card for these countries, and they were using it. At the same time, the Armenians used this opportunity for voicing their claims, territorial claims against their neighbors. And as a result of this destructive approach, and at that time also militarist approach, fighting with the neighbors, more lands, and the South Caucasus states was not able to focus more on their internal issues, let's say on developing economy or developing international foreign affairs, and to getting support of the international community. And at the end, in 2 years, just not even 1 month less than 2 years, all of them lost their independence. Again, in 1991, there was again the chance for the region to prosper, for the people living in this South Caucasus, because throughout the history, the wars and clash happening here, the people lack here to have the peaceful life. And in 1991, at the end, there was a chance to be a proud member of world community, and to come to the world community with some added values, to contribute to the development of humanity, and most importantly, to have a situation and a comfortable situation to provide a prosperous and abundance for the prosperous life for their peoples. But in 1991, right after even before of course, independence, this clash started, the claims started in the period of the collapse of the Soviet Union. And in 1991, when there was officially recognized of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and officially it found itself in the war with Armenia. And unfortunately, the South Caucasus lost this chance to live without war, lost this chance to live in peace, because of this ill-minded ultranationalist and militarist policy of Armenian leadership, and their societies believing in this kind of stories. And why I'm mentioning about the whole South Caucasus, because it's very important geopolitical region. This is the bridge between south and north. This is the bridge between east and west. And talking about Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan is the only country in the world which has the borders with Turkey, Iran, and Russia. These are the 3 countries which were active in the region in the past, in the history. So Azerbaijan is the only country to have the borders with all of 3. Azerbaijan is the bridge between the important energy sources of the Caspian Sea, or from the shores of the Caspian Sea to the Europe and to the whole world, through the international seaports. So in Azerbaijan and in general in the South Caucasus, naturally and also, let's say, geopolitically, actually we have everything in order to provide a prosperous life for our societies. We have in Azerbaijan, we have oil, gas, and in general, for example, for Georgia, it's very touristic place, and it has very important geo-economic position. I can say the same thing for Armenia also, that Armenia, with its nature and also with its, let's say, geopolitical situation, is also very important, and it has all the facilities in order to provide its population, because the population is not so much, it's around 2.5 million or something like this. So it's enough in order to provide a prosperous life. But as a result of this war whole geography, people living here affected, and especially in particular Azerbaijanis, because there are 1 million Azerbaijani, and also there are IDPs and refugees, IDPs in the internally displaced persons from the occupied lands of Azerbaijan, and refugees from Armenia, 200,000 Azerbaijanis living there, which were expelled from Armenia in late 80s, 1980s. And as a continuation of the policy of expelling them, the first one happened in 1940s, 48, if I'm not mistaken. So all these, of course, affected the today's life and the economic situation of the people. And what I wanted to mention is that in all this situation, the people of Azerbaijan, they are very optimistic about we are very confident that we will take these lands back. There is no other way for us. And as our president, His Excellency Ilham Aliyev, just recently mentioned, after his call on the people of Azerbaijan, and he mentioned that, don't worry, our army is strong enough to liberate our lands. But if you want to, let's say, show your positions as a citizen, you may go to the just voluntarily register for the army. It doesn't mean that necessarily you will go to the army, but just this is the civic position. And after that call, 50,000 young people made voluntary registration for them. So what I mean, we are very optimistic and we are very hopeful in this issue that we will take back our lands sooner or later, but that will not be later, so later, but sooner or later we will take these lands back. And it's better for Armenia and Armenian society to give up this ill-minded occupation, this illegal occupation, and to come to the right way immediately, not losing a day more. And as a result of this aggressive policy, now they are out of all the energy projects, big projects in the region, because Azerbaijan is strong enough and to put them out of this process. So this is if the Armenian society, the ordinary Armenians will think more about this, the occupation of Nagorno-Karabakh will not bring them anything. Because first of all, that occupation will not last for many years. That will be stopped. And secondly, they are losing their chances. They are losing their opportunities to decently live in this world. So that's my point. And I think that what will happen in the future in this region, you know, there are examples in the history, and the examples in the history of South Caucasus also. When there is a peace, when there is a justice in these territories, the societies are prospering. But when there is a wars, of course, everybody were affected by it and being affected by it. But sooner or later, the justice will always prevail, and prevailed in the past also. Justice will prevail, and the people of Azerbaijan and its partners will be able to restore peace and territorial integrity of Azerbaijan. This is for sure. So again, I would like to highlight that that's better for Armenian society and the individuals, Armenian individuals, to raise their voice in front of their governments, in front of their establishment, to stop this occupation, to stop this kind of ultranationalist, militarist, aggressive policy against the neighbors immediately, and not to lose a day more, because we are living in the 21st century. The life is continuing very fast, and there are too many opportunities to enjoy this life and to live in a peace, and to come to the world with some added value, you know, to contribute to the development in the world. But other thing is that just I want to mention is this fact also that there is a strong Armenian diaspora, or let's say Armenian communities in the Western countries, especially in the United States, California. And recently we were witnessed the barbaric vandal attacks of these groups against the embassies, diplomatic missions of the Republic of Azerbaijan, or small groups of Azerbaijanis. The recent one happened in Los Angeles, in California. More than 3,000 of Armenians attacking 30 Azerbaijanis. So this shows that whenever they will have chance to attack the small group, or the, let's say, small group of people, or let's say weak group, they are doing it, but they have to stop it. No reason for that. They can live decently in this life. And for those who are demanding Karabakh, who are demanding Great Armenia, who are demanding, I don't know, Anatolia, Georgia, Caspian Sea, and etc., it's easy for them to live and to enjoy the economic situation in the United States, because the government of the United States provided that opportunity for them. But it's easy for them to live there and to demand and to speak with these kind of claims. But what about the Armenians living in Armenia? Why they have to be victims of the claims of the nationalistic approach of the diaspora, who are living in the Western countries and who, even in Russia, and who are enjoying the normal economic conditions? For them, it's easy to speak, because at the end of the day, when they will be born, it will not be them who will fight there. That will be Armenians living in Armenia who will fight there. And so that's the big threat for Armenians living in Armenia, to be threatened by their, let's say, and they are becoming the victims of these ideas of the Armenian diaspora, who believes in nonsense. So this is my answer to your question.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Elmaddin. It was quite insightful. It was quite someone who's a first-hand observer of this entire issue. It was very much important to highlight this issue from a first-hand observer. This was pretty much everything that we should know and be aware of, even as a youth, someone who was born after occupation, someone who's from other country, ever justified. This would be the end of very clearly, nicely, and very elaboratively explained it to us what it's like being in a region of who's at the stake of war. Coming from someone who's in Pakistan, I can highly relate to that issue. I would like to mention one thing, Ms. Rutaba Tariq, as we're ending it. It's unfortunately due to some personal reasons she couldn't join us. But she has sent her regards, and I would like to quote her, read her statement for you, if you allow me now. May I?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you are the host.
All right. No, you're the speaker. You're the one who's esteemed here. All right. Ms. Rutaba Tariq, and I quote, says, Mr. Elmaddin has been with us from the very beginning. He has pushed us to be better leaders and change makers for our society and for the OIC geography at large. It is his confidence that has allowed us to challenge ourselves and push ourselves to innovate, to create new platforms and engage our peers and fellow young people in Pakistan and in other countries to learn, to evolve, and to own up to our future. Ms. Rutaba Tariq. She would like to pass her regards from Pakistan to Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, she couldn't join, but on her behalf, we delivered her message. To the viewers, I hope you have learned something from this, as this is very important at hand issue that we should all be as young people aware of. We should know our history, we should know our present, so we could decide our future. With this, I would like to end the session for today. I hope the viewers have learned through it. I hope they have learned how important it is to raise voice for the unjust happenings on the Azerbaijani border. It is in solidarity that we'll stand. It is in solidarity that we will like to and would love to resolve the issue. And I hope this crisis, which has been on hiatus for the last 22 years, but then it came in 2016, and now this is in 2020 that we have seen. We hope that this reached to its peace settlement and the just gets the justice, the right gets the justice. And with that, I'd like to sign off. I'd like to thank Mr. Elmeddin for his presence, for his time, for his valuable insights on the issue. Thank you so much, sir, once again. It was a pleasure having a conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I would
sir.
like to appreciate your efforts and the efforts of the whole team. And I would like taking this opportunity to express my gratitude to our audience and to wish every success to you in your activities and success and safety to all of our young people audience who are watching us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. With this, we'd like to sign off this special episode by National MOIC in collaboration with Eurasian Regional Center of ICYF. This is Mariam Shakeel with Mr. Elmaddin Mehdiyev. Thank you so much, audience, for being a wonderful audience this time. And we're out. Thank you so much.
Thank
Allah
you.
Hafiz.
Thank you.